guys that say, hey, you guys are overreacting. The whole bishops' conference out in Africa, you're overreacting. Asia, you're overreacting. Come on, stop it. You priests in England, stop it. Read the document. They say things like that, and you go, dude. Again, Jesse, I say actions speak louder than words. But what's your explanation for if someone comes up to you and says, Jesse, you're overreacting. This is not a problem. It's right within the church teachings, and you just have to trust the Pope.
Well, Terry, I'll tell you, we're in good company with a lot of people that also are looking at this document and saying it's a distinction without a difference. Yeah. People like, Cardinal Burke, Mueller, Sarah, Archbishop Cardinal Zen, Archbishop Jacobis, Ganswein, Vigano, Bishop Strickland, Bishop Snyder, Bishop Barron also criticized the Synod, by the way. Yeah. You got Father Gerald Murray, Scott Hahn. They did a show. Can you criticize the Pope on EWTN? Right. Both of them says absolutely. You got now Regis Martin and Terry. Then you have a litany of other scholars, academics that have written and they've documented this. The Dictator Pope by Henry Sire. The Lost Shepherd, how Pope Francis is misleading the flock by Philip Lawler. Yep. The next one, To Change the Church, Pope Francis and the Future of Catholicism by Ross Duhat. Yeah. You also got The Political Pope. By George Neumeier, rest in peace. Pope Francis' Paradigm Shift by Jose Antonio Ureta, a theologian over in Brazil. Bad Shepherds by Rob Bennett. Infiltration by Taylor Marshall. Defending the Faith Against Heresies by Dr. John Lamont, a Canadian professor. The Road to Hyper-Papalism to Catholicism, that's a 2-volume work by Dr. Kwasniewski. There's over 3,000 pages of research documenting Pope Francis' statements, his errors. They're well-sourced, they're highly footnoted, and replete with painful facts. And now, remember, it's important to distinguish between the fallible, institutional, human elements of the church versus the truth of God, which are the doctrines and the sacraments. This always remains because the church herself is indefectible and indestructible according to the Baltimore Catechism, and we hold to the perennial teachings of the deposit of faith.
And I'll just add one last thing. The Pope doesn't have the power to change any of the teachings of the church. Okay. In other words, he is the vicar of Christ, not the superior of Christ. So if in fact the Pope wanted to, decide on some disciplines, that's different. But when it comes to doctrinal issues, he doesn't have that power. So I would just say, pray for the Pope like we do every day at our rosary. Yep. I pray, you know what I pray for him, Jesse? For years, for almost a decade, that he confirm us in our faith. I don't pray for his intentions. I can't, Jesse. Not in my conscience. I pray to have him confirm us in our faith, and I'd ask all of our listeners, don't get mad. Get down on your knees and pray for Holy Mother of the Church, because the church is in great need of conversion right now.
Well, what you pray for, St. Luke wrote it. I think it's in chapter 24.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Yeah, where he says, Peter, when Peter's converted, he will confirm the brethren.
Right. That's exactly where I got it from.
So it's Luke chapter 24. Your prayer is right in the gospel.
Yeah.
Terry, also want to mention a bit of good news.
Sure, rest, Jess.
Yeah. The Capuchin Franciscans are announcing, they announced on 2 days ago that actor Shia LaBeouf has fully entered the Catholic Church, having received the sacrament of confirmation on New Year's Eve.
Awesome.
So this A-list actor Shia LaBeouf, 37 years old, had a conversion while portraying St. Padre Pio in a movie in 2022. I didn't watch the movie, so I can't make any comments on it. But I guess starring in that movie prepared him for the role, and he spent time living with Padre Pio's order, the Capuchin Franciscans, at their monastery in Northern California. He began taking RCIA classes last year, and he received confirmation a few days ago. He's now fully in the church.
Yes. When I say people are coming into the church in spite of the scandal, I always think of what G.K. Chesterton said, why did I become a Catholic? Because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, truth is what brings us in. I'm all for a warm church. I'm all for friendliness, okay? But you know what really brings people in? They're looking for the truth of the gospel. They want to know the meaning and purpose of life, and they want to have clarity that teaches this is right, this is wrong, And that's what we have a moral obligation, all of us here, Jess and myself and all of our listeners, to share those truths of the faith, because it's what our Lord said, the truth will set us free.